Hey friends, Dennis Nappy II here, and I'm going to share some of my predictions for February 2021. Today's date is January 31st, 2021. Obviously, I did these predictions in the month of January. I did them yesterday morning, January 30th, 2021. And my task was to look ahead into the future and see if I can pull out news headlines for the upcoming month of February. It's an experiment that a lot of remote viewers do. I see it with, we do it with our team with crypto viewing. Um, I want to stress that I'm a trainee, and this is a learning process for me. I'm still going through my training. I'm almost about a year in, just about finished it. But once I'm done my training, I will still be a trainee because there is just so much to learn. I think completing training just kind of gets me in the door. So what I'm doing with this is I'm trying to learn my own internal processes and understand what's imagination, what is the actual signal line, and what's noise, what's stuff that's not relevant to the target. Um, and typically, I have a lot of trouble with the world events sessions because I feel that world events is a lot less structured than I'm used to. I'm learning a form of remote viewing called controlled remote viewing, and all types of remote viewing have steps and procedures and ways you go about extracting your information. It's not just closing your eyes and guessing what's going to happen. Um, there's a set of steps that you follow. And with world events, it's a little bit different. And the target in world events, um, you have the risk of what they call front loading, because if you know what's going on in the world, you can say, well, I can guess that this is going to happen. So you have to quiet that guessing based on your knowledge of certain subjects. And then there's so many things that are going on in the world. I found it's tough to separate different stories. Now, this month, I want to talk in a minute about something I did that really helped me. So we'll see if they come true, but it helped me to at least feel that I was getting one story at a time, where in previous months, I can't tell if I'm pulling elements from five different stories and combining it into one sketch. It was really tough to tell. So I want to start by reviewing the data from last month, just one story. Now, I feel that if I had to evaluate my section from last month, my world events, I'd say it was absolutely terrible. I put it out there again because it's a learning process for me and it's helpful with the comments that I get from those of you. But I think it was an absolutely terrible session. With that being said, I do think there was at least elements of one story in there, and that was the plane crash in Indonesia. I'm going to do a quick recap here of last month's data, and then I'll get to my predictions for this month. So let me show you what I have up here on my screen. Okay, so you can see my screen here. This was my data, my session here. I went through it. You can look at the YouTube video if you want to watch me explaining all my data here. But this one here, I had this shape here. I had an AOL, which is an analytical overlay. It's like a conscious mind's guess. Rocket, people, obelisk. So I had the rocket theme. I had people involved in that. I described it as smooth, riveted, welded, shiny, dull. I had U.S. Air Force, and I had some other, possibly some noise going down in here. And then I moved on to here, and I had this wavy stuff here: arching, curving, tingling, shaking, rumbling, cold, cool, compressed, a channel, a runway, a passageway. Could that be water? Now that I'm looking back on it, bioluminescence seen from above at night, ships, crews, helicopters, hands down, ocean liner, sludge, energized, thick, flowing, slow. Now looking back, I think I was probably seeing the ocean, the water that this airline crashed in. Here again, heads, helmets bowing down. I had drilling or cores in AOL, churning, spilling, angled. I was seeing a helicopter. Maybe there was a helicopter out there searching. I did a quick thing. I didn't find any imagery of it, but maybe that's connected. And again, maybe I'm reaching for something. And then I had this downward motion, beveled, angled, tubular, spinning, churning, rotating. And I had it going down as it was spinning. And then I had an AOL of drilling here, but I had smooth, cold, energized, or release, compression, soft, sinking, wilding, choking, thick. And then I look up here and I gave myself a movement here at 500 feet in front of this event at the height of 6 feet in sketch and describe. Kind of tough if it's a plane going into the water. But what I did get here was the Star Wars ship sounds I have as an AOL. And what I heard was like, the sound those screaming ships make, which an aircraft probably would have made as it was crashing. So I had screeching, roaring, opening, closing, hinged, mechanical, ongoing. And I had these people, and it was like a roller coaster. And I saw that they were strapped in, just people strapped in, and there were people strapped in their seats here. And then I had this symbol here, and I interpreted this. I said AOL radiation symbol, but I also had Ferris wheel wood. I described it as soft, circular, riveted, pungent, explosive, corrosive, open, silver, glossy, shiny, reflective, empty, hollow space. Okay, so those are the different parts of it. This C out here was empty, hollow space. The B was open and silver, and I had A here as open, circular, riveted, pungent, explosive, and corrosive. So my conscious mind interpreted this as a radiation symbol, and I got into some discussions online saying, yeah, maybe there's a nuclear biological thing because we like to go to that worst case scenario. But I was just looking at this story here, and here's what I came up with some feedback on this. Let me minimize that. There you have it. Indonesia flight finds body parts, debris, detects emergency signal of crashed jet. It looks like this is the feedback for that image that I saw there. It's a Navy personnel inspect what is believed to be the remains of the Sriwijaya airplane flight SJ-182. And there is the image right there. And let me pull that up again for us. Where is it? Okay, sorry, I'm getting used to this. I think that's it. And if you look at the A section right here in the center, I had circular, riveted, pungent, explosive, corrosive. Maybe that's not a great description of it, but then again, maybe it is. So I think I had elements of that drawing right there. And here's a whole bunch of images, just a Google search, people looking for it out in the water. And I think that ties into some of the data that I had. I mean, obviously there's the people in their seats going down, the impact, and maybe this is the search. Maybe this is the waterway. So that's, I won't even classify that as a hit, but I do think that I had elements of that target. I think that's what I was tapping in on. So let me move to my world events predictions for February of 2021. And again, I did this just yesterday. The date was January 30th, 2021. And I did a couple of things differently. I wasn't quite sure how to label these targets. So I came up with a labeling system, just the year 2021, and then the month and the first day of the month, 0201. It's a completely front-loaded target. I know what the target is. I'm looking at what's going to happen in the news, but I don't know what those news stories are going to be, save for the ongoing stories, coronavirus, presidential stuff, that we've been tracking here. But I wrote my taskings out here, so it's clear in what I'm looking for. So it's not just, okay, I'm looking at the news, it could be anything, fell all over the place. So I gave myself the taskings of this, 3 points. The viewer will describe the major world events reported in the media during the month of February 2021. The viewer will describe events reported in the media that happened in the Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania in February of 2021. I figured, hey, I live here. Why don't I see what's going on where I live? And then lastly, the viewer will describe any positive or uplifting or inspiring events that occur in February 2021 and are reported in the media. This, I realized, I love that that's in here, but it's also a dangerous front loading, because now if I'm specifically looking for a story, my conscious mind is going to put a positive spin on something once I target that. So I may take that tasking out, even though I like that idea. And I have to say now, once I got into my session, I approached it a little bit differently, and it felt great. I felt that my stories that I was getting into, I could clearly separate now which story is which. In part due to the tasking, but in part because of something different that I did. Now, the way I've been trained in controlled remote viewing is to go through, you progress through the different stages. Now, stage one, you're drawing your ideogram, and they're just basic gestalts of the target. You're identifying it. Is it a structure? Is it a man-made landmass? Is it water? Is it space? Is it energy? Is it a life form? And that's basically what you're doing with that ideogram. Then you go, and the ideogram here is this squiggle right here. And typically I've been doing 2 to 3 pages of ideograms on a given target. But that's because when I have a normal remote viewing target, every piece of data correlates to that one target. When you're doing something like world events, you have multiple targets because you're queuing in on multiple stories. So I would do 3 pages, 4 pages of videograms. And then all of a sudden, I'm probably pulling elements from 5, 6, who knows how many different stories in those ideograms. It was getting very confusing for me. So I did this one ideogram here, and I had structure, life form, event. I had the word Excalibur and weather as AOLs: hard, soft, mushy, natural, wet. And then my conscious mind said, hey, we're getting a major snowstorm in this area today, the 31st, starting later this afternoon. That's probably what I'm talking about. And then I thought I was a little too front loaded there. So I moved on. I did another ideogram. I had space, open, airy, spacious, roomy, hexed. And then I had an event like a concert or a fence or something with a vaccine. I wasn't sure at first. These are all AOLs. And I said, okay, I'm going to do another ideogram. And then this ideogram, again, I got a structure. And then if you see the difference here, there's some information here. This one I really felt, I had a data flow here, these 4 words, and then I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 come here, and the same thing, things were clustered here. This felt more like I tapped into an event here. And I decided, you know what? I'm not going to do another ideogram. I'm going to explore this one segment here and see where it takes me. So I had hard landscape, open spaces, describing the structure here: elevated, loud sounds, screaming, movement, energetics. And then as my AOLs, again, my conscious mind interpreting thing, there was an event, it was chaotic, it was messy. I AOL'd concrete, and I had running, evacuation, fire, is it terrorism? And again, these are analytical overlays, and it's too early to start making any type of guesses like that, and I shouldn't be doing that. That's why you put them in the AOL section. But I said, you know what? There's my stage 2. I want to jump right into a sketch because I was getting glimpses of just outlines of things. And so I drew this sketch of what I interpreted as steps and feet coming down it. And I came up with screaming sounds, a female life form, curly hair, grabbing long, rounded object. And I kept seeing this woman with brown hair holding on to a railing, like a woman holding a railing going down the steps, curly brown hair. And then I probed different sections of this here, and I got the A section, which was these stairs, hard, solid, fast. The B, which I'm interpreting as a railing, rubbery, bouncy movement. And then C was one of these people, heartfelt, sincere, outspoken, if they are, in fact, people here. A little bit more on this one, looking at stage 3, move to the causing factor of this event and sketch and describe. I had this box within a box, it looked like, and I wrote down trajectory, moving objects, piercing, harrowing, heart-wrenching. What about the children was a question I heard in my mind. And then again, AOLs here: fire, run, escalator, dance, lightning, beam, pierce, window, gunshots. I went back to some data here on the left-hand side: incoming movement, energetics. My aesthetic impact is, what does this feel like to me? This feels sad to me. And I heard help, heard crying sounds, sobs, whoa. And then I probed A here, right in the center, whatever this box is: dark, cavernous, silhouette, serene. And I probed B, which is outside of this box: light, bright, energetic, pulsing, rhythmic, charged, location. I had an AOL here of a disaster. Is it natural? Does it involve a building? And then C, which was the external to this, whatever this structure is here: open, heat, energetics, source. So it looks like something energetic happens that impacts this structure that then causes the people within that structure to run down it and escape. Again, totally guessing here, just trying to interpret that data. Okay, move to the most interesting aspect of this event and sketch or describe. And again, I'm kind of going off protocol here, but I hear a woman screaming or sobbing like a gut-wrenching, sad media clip over an event. She escapes. She's a victim, a survivor, I asked. What happened? She doesn't know. I gave myself a movement here: move to a position and observe what happened and described. And I had, again, AOL, hurricanes, earthquake, helicopter. And this is a horrible sketch, but it's as if I'm on the ground level looking up at a building, and I had like looking up at a building with a rounded ledge. So I was looking up at the building, it was the corner of the building, and there were windows there. I don't know what else that was. So that's that first event, some kind of event. Could it be, because I had this sense of like debris coming in. That could be the impact of a natural disaster or event, could be some kind of crash, it could be something, but people felt the need to move down steps and get out. So my next event here, and this one, which one was this here? Oh, and this is what I did differently. I clearly gave a movement target, move to the next event. So I'm telling my mind, my consciousness, whatever, my subconscious, we're done with that story. This helped me to really clarify and differentiate and move on to that next piece there. And I felt really good doing it. So this story was, I don't remember what this story was. This was pretty cool. So my initial my ideogram that I did, it was choppy. It was broken up in two spots. My pen came off the paper. That doesn't happen often for me. I couldn't identify what this was. I just had jagged, impactful, hard, material, curious, intellectual. And that's when I got an AOL. It was like something complex or investigative, like a thought, idea, or a concept. And I don't have a lot of experience exploring these, but this felt like a very intellectual or conceptual thing that I really couldn't categorize with this low level data here. So I moved into stage 3 and I had a sketch, just rows or layers, whatever these were. And again, I got AOL's investigation, inspection, introspection, or looking into. I tried to probe this hard sloped steeple. And then the external to this thing was a concept, thought, residual life forms. So again, me trying to interpret this, I'm looking at this thinking, maybe there's something here that they're looking at, and external to it, there's a concept attached to it, or thought, or life forms that are affiliated with it. So I got the idea of another sketch here, and it was ringed and circular, and I have A in the center and B on the outside. And I had A was hard but soft, like maybe it was hard on the outside but soft on the inside, and B felt like a wavy movement, rhythmic and energetic. And then I had AOLs here, like a circus, virus, spread, vaccine. And then I had, again, as an AOL, like a sperm to an egg. And then looking at B, again, as an AOL, is this like a scientific study or discovery? So as I'm looking at this, I'm wondering, is this COVID related? Will there be some scientific study or discovery that's revealed? And again, thinking of that sperm to an egg AOL, as I did another drawing here, I got an AOL right away, breakthrough, COVID, vaccine. And I went to sketch or describe the most interesting aspect of this story. And I had this shape here. Now, the way this shape comes to me, my initial, I guess, thought was, oh, this almost looks like the sun, with like when you see images of Mercury passing through it. But that's not my job to determine what it is at that point. Just gather the low level data here. So I drew the sketch here and I started probing. And I had this inner part here, A, soft, squishy, fibrous, surprising. A chemical breakthrough came to my mind. I probably should have labeled that as like S3.5. And then I went to B. I had this spherical object here that was moving towards the object A here. And I had a hard penetrating object. And then looking at this C, and in my mind, C was kind of glowing. Energy, soft, warm, liquid, flowing, reactive, movement, protective, radiant, charged. Is this, I mean, are we looking at a cell here? Or this object here had spikes coming off of it. And now I'm thinking about it, maybe I was looking at the coronavirus itself. And I had an AOL for A here. I had empirical data. Now looking at S3.5 again, I had S3.5 is like not quite the next stage yet, but it's doesn't quite fit for this stage. And I just had a concept of ideas. Glowing, bright, expansive, awareness. And then again, I had an AOL of a scientific discovery, and I highlighted that because I felt that that was important. And then global consciousness, elite. Okay. And that was it for that story. So ultimately what I'm looking at here with this session is a possible breakthrough. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess maybe it's with COVID or coronavirus. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like it has something to do with some object, ball, or chemical going into either a cell or the virus itself. So we'll see. And then I wanted to describe a news event locally to me. I'll go through this a little bit quicker. I knew it involved life forms. It was something that was confusing. There was anger, turmoil, and shouting. It was an event. I saw Hispanic faces. I know my area has a large Hispanic population. And I drew this structure here that I interpreted as like a hard white building. And I had hard white, peeling, flaky, recycling, crispy, crunchy. And that's as I'm probing the side of this structure here. hard, clear, that I'm guessing probably windows. And then C, open, cool, crisp, clean, white, and clear would be the area surrounding what I'm interpreting as a building. Ultimately, I looked at this as a news event involving the elderly. It seemed like an emotional news event here. I didn't know if it was political, and I thought maybe, my AOL here. I saw an interview, and people were upset. Not a devastating event, but an ongoing struggle the local news is covering. And I almost pictured this like they're interviewing the elderly and the impact this is having on them. And I'm wondering, does this, and I had the word trust here, and I clearly saw like a Hispanic woman with her hair pulled back. She had some missing teeth, and she was talking into a microphone. And that was a quick impression that I got. And I'm wondering, is this going to be a story that's covered about, the elderly not having access to vaccines or something? So I'll look at my local news and see what happens. And then I wanted to see what's going on in the crypto world. Now, again, I want to clarify. I am a rookie. I have not done this very long. So please take this with a grain of salt and recognize this is not financial advice. This is just an experiment. I want to be clear about that. But I did this ideogram trying to describe top crypto news. And right away, I got a whole bunch of AOLs. Wow, tumultuous, exciting, graphic charts, off the charts. This is good. This is big. And I got an AI. I feel really happy. And I did. I'm doing this. This feels great. And I got the statement, invest and invest now. That's for me. That is not investment advice. I want to be quite clear about that. All right. Then I kept going here. Top blocked chunky event, hardship, hardscape, crypto landscape. I was trying to describe like the crypto landscape. I was trying to draw a sketch here. I just couldn't come up with anything. Critical crypto infrastructure, a key concept or idea is revealed. So I don't know if there's going to be an announcement or something about crypto infrastructure, giving a key concept or an idea. All right, move to the most important aspect of this event and describe a big announcement. I had an AOL of Wall Street, Bitcoin news, crypto, and I did see the Bitcoin logo, and I saw it hard, stable, fast. Shoom is like the word I heard in my head, and just this energetic upwards, like lightning, up, 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 yippee! All right, so that was it. And then what I did here in my notes, I just broke it down, trying to describe the stories here, each one, all 4 events. So ultimately, I'll scroll through event 4 there as well. Ultimately, I came up with 4 stories, and I don't know how reliable my data is going to be in this one. Again, this is just a training experiment for me that I want to share with anybody else who's going through remote viewing in your journey. Maybe you can learn from it. Maybe you have information to share with me. So please don't take these predictions as, oh my gosh, this is going to happen. Definitely don't go investing based on my my remote viewing data here with crypto. But this process for world events felt a lot better for me. I felt I had more structure to it, and my data came a lot easier. So right now, I'm feeling pretty good about my data, but that doesn't mean anything, in all honesty. So I'll check back in a month or as we go through. If you see any hits, please let me know. But there's clearly 4 stories here that I'll be keeping a close eye on. And that's it for this month. So thanks for watching. Any feedback you have, it certainly helps me as a viewer. Again, this has just been a fun learning experience for me, life-changing in a lot of ways. But fun nonetheless. So I'm Dennis Nappy II. Thanks for watching.